Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, Military Video Tech. Philippines upgrades Balabac Airstrip for U.S. base following China presence in region. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is overseeing a historic expansion in military cooperation with the United States, putting the Southeast Asian nation on a collision course with China in the South China Sea. A new report by the Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative, AMTI, of the Center for Strategic and International Studies think tank in Washington, D.C. shows in graphic detail how the Philippines is rapidly upgrading a whole host of military bases under its Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, with the U.S. Pentagon. Combining open access information, public statements by senior Filipino officials, and high-resolution satellite imagery, AMTI has tracked accelerated construction activities across as many as 9 EDCA bases across the Philippine archipelago. The report also shows that despite the vehement opposition by former Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte, 2016 to 22, who favored closer ties with Beijing and often lobbed politicized broadsides against the traditional allies in the U.S. and West, infrastructure upgrades in some military bases date as far back as 2016. Crucially, EDCA bases close to the disputed South China Sea have seen the most dramatic upgrades, with the Balabac Airbase in Pampanga, which is close to the hotly contested Scarborough Shoal, receiving more U.S. funding for expansion than all other facilities. The Antonio Bautista Air Base also received significant upgrades to its runway and aircraft storage facilities since 2016, according to the ATMI report. In the nearby Balabac Island, also in the southwestern province of Palawan that juts into the South China Sea, major infrastructure projects clearing the way for a 3-kilometer-long airbase predated the inclusion of the facilities in the area under an expanded EDCA announced in 2023. Just as concerning to China are ongoing U.S.-backed plans to upgrade several Philippine facilities, both military and civilian, close to Taiwan's southern shores. The Philippines is also fortifying its position in the Spratly group of islands, with the country's legislative leaders recently visiting the Thitu Island and vowing sizable funding for necessary infrastructure upgrades. Meanwhile, Antonio Bautista Air Base, located in Puerto Princesa, Palawan, which is the closest site to the Spratly Islands, has received $1.8 million in U.S. funding, with ongoing construction activities focusing on the enhancement of ammunition warehouse, fuel storage, and command and control infrastructure. The nearby Balabac Air Base, the recipient of substantial investments by the Philippine government, has also seen significant improvements in recent years, including the development of a 3,000-meter runway for both military and civilian purposes. Upgrades are also picking up in more northern-oriented bases. In May, the AFP announced that up to 14 projects will be constructed in the 4 new EDCA bases, with American financing. The Marcos Jr. administration has repeatedly emphasized the defensive calculus behind its expanded military cooperation with the U.S. By all indications, though, the Philippines is proactively enhancing its deterrence against China's expanding footprint in the South China Sea to the west, while also preparing for potential contingencies in neighboring Taiwan to the north. Throughout the 1970s, for instance, Marcos Sr. expanded the Philippines' strategic footprint in the disputed Spratly Islands. This culminated in the establishment of the first modern airstrip in the area on Thitu Island, the second largest naturally formed land feature in the South China Sea. Earlier this year, Marcos Jr. green-lighted the addition of 4 more bases that are heavily oriented towards the South China Sea, including the Balabac Island in Palawan, Taiwan Naval Base Camilo Ozias, Santa Ana, Cagayan, Lalo Airport in Cagayan and Camp Melchor de la Cruz in Gamu, Isabela. Last November, Washington agreed to spend $66.5 million on the original 5 bases. This April, ahead of Marcos Jr's visit to the U.S., Washington agreed to allocate a total of $100 million on the expanded list of EDCA bases. That month, the Philippines clarified that as many as 5 projects were already finished by that time, while significant progress was made on 8 of the remaining 16 projects in the 5 original sites. According to the AMTI report, the Balabac Airbase, located close to the Spratly Islands, has received more U.S. funding for infrastructure projects. In September, Manila announced that it was seeking American assistance to build a command center and fuel storage facility at Lalo Airport, as well as a pier and a repairing airstrip at the Camilo Ozias Naval Base. This month, the U.S. is expected to press ahead with help building a civilian port on the remote northernmost islands of Batanes. Crucially, the Philippines has independently stepped up fortification of its military facilities in Mavilis Island, located just over 100 nautical miles away from Taiwan's southern shores, as well as in Thitu Island in the Spratly Group of Islands in the South China Sea.